to another edition, exciting, the Love Power Show, called Somebody, because we're on the air. We're screaming loud and sparing none. We're discussing all of the relevant issues, everything from the sublime to the ridiculous. We make the sublime clear. We make the ridiculous make sense. And if you don't believe it, just stay tuned to the Love Power Show. We have guests who are interesting, exciting, positive, intelligent, interesting, fascinating, knowledgeable, and thought-provoking, I might add. Called Somebody. We debate the issues. We take positions, define and defend those positions, offer analysis. We present solutions to problems that African Americans face. We provide leadership, and yes, I said leadership. And I put emphasis on it because there are a lot of brothers out there who see themselves as leaders, or they want to be leaders, but they want to be sneaky about it. See, they try to take charge, but they won't come out and say, I'm offering leadership. I want to be in charge. I am, in fact, a leader. They won't do that. But right here on this show right here, we say it every Sunday. We provide leadership. We provoke thought. We offer solutions to problems that the African American community faces. And you have those naysayers out there who say, you know what? I still didn't hear the solution. And what is that? Because maybe there's so much work involved and because it's scary out there. And in an effort to not do the work that's necessary to be done. But I want to say something about my dear cousin, Betty Wyro. If you are interested in real estate, selling, buying, or investing, call my cousin Betty Wyro at the Referral Center, Inc. Give her a call right there, 323-8003 or 901-758-5666 for all of your referral needs dealing with real estate investment, purchasing, or selling, or buying, whatever. Give her a call. Want to say also that Minister Omar Anthony Muhammad will be with us on next Sunday. I told him he wanted to know something about the program. I gave him some information, and I told him that we would be in communication with him throughout the week. So will you pass him this flyer, and then we'll talk more about the show going forward. Today, we're talking about police brutality, of course, because it's always going on. And we talk about things that are going on. Is that right, Talut?
Absolutely.
Jeff,
No question about it.
now, is that going on?
What's going on?
But I want to say something else. The African people in the African American community are suffering. What do you think about this? Here's a picture, commercial appeal. July 31st. It says homesick. Here's a young African American baby, 2 years old, Lanaya Churchman, requires a breathing treatment every other day. The level of mold, spores in the family's unit in Cypress Garden apartment was 39 times higher than the acceptable level according to an air test conducted by a licensed professional hired at the CA. Now, is that suffering? And something has to be done about the problems that we face in the African American community. Not just that, we saw, this hasn't been confirmed. There was a shooting last night of a police officer in the face, as I understand it. But 2 people have said the officer died. Also, we saw that in Cincinnati. Police officer, I think his last name was Renting. What was his name? Ruber Renting or something? Anyway, shot an African American, unarmed man, point blank in the head. Caught on camera. The prosecutor said they acted swiftly. The grand jury came back with swiftness, indicted him, charged him with murder, and he has pled not guilty. His attorney saying that he feared for his life. Now, this is an age-old statement that is used by cop killers. Is that right, Talut? Feared for my life, he was being dragged. But we have not seen that on camera. You see? Omar, I want to go to you first.
You know, in the case in Cincinnati, this is a University of Cincinnati police officer.
Uh-huh.
My first question to myself is, what is he doing off the campus of the University of Cincinnati looking for anything? This young man, a gentleman, 43 years old, Mr. Sam DeVos, was not even on the campus of the University of Cincinnati. And the most he would have been charged with is not having a tag on the front of his car, because they require tags on the back and the front, and then not having his driver's license with him. But if you look at the video, the officer lied. He said that he had been caught, he was being dragged, he was afraid he was going to be run over. The video shows that the officer shot, who was trying to open the man's door, and the man said, "Why do you open my door? Are you arresting me for something?" And then the next thing you know, you see the officer shooting the man in the head. The car rolls down the street about a block and then it hits a pole. But the man is obviously out of it. He can't drive it anywhere. And so, but now in the police report, this officer tells in the police report, and he corroborates it with another police officer who was not there, that he was dragged and he was afraid he'd be run over. And of course, the video camera shows he was not dragged. There was not even the least, harm of him being run over. He was just actually just murdered the man, because the man, he couldn't get out of the man what he thought the man should have been giving him. His, humble spirit. You God, I'm not, and I'm your servant as long as you're in my presence. And so the grand jury couldn't bring anything back but an indictment. Of course, now since then, in the last few days, the University of Cincinnati has decided that on-campus police will not go off campus for anything. The only jurisdiction they'll have is on campus. And I thank them for that. But this man should be indicted and prayerfully found guilty and prayerfully sent to prison for the rest of his days.
Omar, you say prayerfully. Now, he has been indicted. He has been charged with murder.
He was given a $1 million bond, but he's already out.
He's out on bond. And Jeffrey, his name is Ray Tenson. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. Now, let's say a few things about how to get a handgun carry permit. The right to self-defense, to defend yourself. And it says here, Talut number 1, we're talking about the process of education. See, education, that's why I say a non-traditional education, a more expansive form of education, more comprehensive. So, Talut, I think this is going to be a great question for you. Do we have a caller?
Mr. James.
Let's go right to him. Come on in, caller.
Oh, hey, Jay, Ryan.
Fantastic, man. Glad to hear from you. Help us out here. We're trying to do what we do, examine.
The question I had was how these boys all make these big large bonds now. It must be some organization must be having.
Well, that tells you how much money. Omar, you're laughing. Go ahead.
It's like the killing of Michael Brown. That police officer raised $300 on GoFundMe within 3 weeks, $300,000 within 3 weeks. White folks will support white supremacy with their dollars. We need to support our own liberation with our dollars. A $1 million bond, you got to pay $100,000 to get out of jail. And somewhere that he came with the money. He wasn't in jail but a few hours.
Talut?
Well, the point of the matter is, it's not about money. It's about power. Period. It's about power. It's about oppression. And it's about denying black Americans a future in the 21st century of freedom and liberty. You understand? See, that's what it's about. And people who are malicious, corrupt, white supremacists, they will pay for that. They'll pay big bucks for that. Because the winner takes all. There's no sharing, there's nobody else, no rights for the minorities or the black folks, So they capture the whole nation instead of sharing the nation. And that's what it's about. The number one thing that we have to understand as black people is we have enemies. And the enemies are powerful and rich, billionaires. An example, that mayor out of New York, that mayor who was over the city during the 9/11.
You're talking about
Chandri or whatever.
No, Giuliani.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, Rudy Giuliani, he is the one who is promoting around the world a policy that he calls window pane. Policing, the policy is window pane policing, meaning that for the simplest infraction, the simplest thing that can happen on the streets, just a regular police routine traffic stop, could end up in the death of the driver. For the simplest infraction, the most brutal response. And that's what we've been seeing.
Okay.
Rudy Giuliani's broken window policy.
Okay. That's a nice piece of information. Doc, are you still with us?
Yes,
Go ahead. I like you to go with it.
It's not happening in other ways. Man, almost 19 years the black way to shut out like that. And that's male and female now.
Mm-hmm. So you're saying the brutality has expanded. Is that right, Doc?
Yeah, the probably expanded. It seems like it was aggressive against young black.
Mm-hmm.
When a certain age range. Well, I was going out to 50 years old.
How old, Doc?
I think this black guy that got shot in the back for child support was one that ran away with. What, 50 years old.
50? Okay.
Yeah, that's like the oldest black guy I knew of.
You got shot in the back based on child support.
He caught with murder too, because he lied like he told a stun gun out there, man, took his gun, but that was a lie. That's supposed to be a lie.
Okay.
Somebody was reporting that he didn't throw it down. He threw it down there. He didn't take it from him. He threw it down beside his dead body.
Okay, Doc, let's say a few things about self-defense, about the right to carry a gun. Here, I read, how to get a Tennessee handgun carry permit. If you are a Tennessee resident and want to carry a loaded handgun on your person or in your vehicle, you must obtain a Tennessee handgun carry permit. In Shelby County alone, there are approximately 25,000 residents who are licensed to carry a handgun. It is relatively easy to obtain the license, provided you meet certain requirements and receive proper safety training. The process is outlined below. And here we're talking about gun permits, we're talking about gun usage, and we're talking about gun safety, is what we're talking about. And I repeat, it is a process of education. We're not talking about the kind of stuff we've seen running around, people just have guns, any kind of guns, shooting any kind of way, some kind of crazy stuff. That's not what we're talking about. Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah,
Come on.
but
Okay.
that's still what about the issue is the police killing the black.
Right, that's pretty much the point that we made, and that's the point that Talut made. Talut, I understand you know something about it.
Who's being the technical? Why not? Who's the guy? We're not being protected. I think we should take that to the court.
Yeah.
Okay.
All is wrong with them. It was really wrong with them around here.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to say something about that after a while, Doc. There's some organizations. Apparently you can't hear. Okay. All right, hold on a minute, Doc.
Okay, on a carrying permit, of which I am a licensed carrier, I
Okay.
went through the process
Okay.
to
So
acquire
you're the man
a
for the
permit.
you're the man for the question.
I got the question. Okay, and what I have found is that over 300 and some thousand Tennesseans have permits to carry a gun. Okay, I looked at it from a financial standpoint. Okay, the cost of the permit and the number of people who carry it, who obtain the permit, the windfall for the state is astronomical. They want as many people as they can to carry the permit because you have to pay for it.
Right.
It's not free.
Yes. Here, there's some cost here.
There's some hefty costs
in this
okay.
piece
Now,
here.
my thing is, the training is excellent. Okay. The gun usage is good, and the purpose and the aims, and one of the fundamental things about that type of education is this: you are responsible for where that bullet ends up. Okay, meaning that if you fire your weapon, you miss your intended target and hit someone else, you're a murderer. Okay. If that person dies, okay? You're totally 100% responsible for your projectile. Now, after having taken the course and gone through the process, the gun handling and all this kind of stuff, in America, with billions and billions of guns out here in the society, and I say billions because I really believe it is, okay? Everyone should have some kind of training. And the other thing about it, I'm not so interested in the background training because, as I understand, when you make that application, you go through one of the highest background checks available. Okay, so it's not so much of that as it is understanding what a weapon would do. Now, of course, I have military training too, okay, in the uses of weapons. So the thing that I'm finding in our community or in our neighborhoods as it applies to guns and young people carrying guns and utilizing guns, they have no idea what damage a projectile can cause on a human being. They're just firing guns and they're shooting people. They have no sense of what that bullet would do to a body. Okay, so, and they have no idea how to use the gun. They just start pulling the trigger. Many times they miss with the intended target, hit someone else. Many times.
Well, they appear to have gotten their training and their education from the TV screen.
Absolutely, from television. And that's the TV and movie screen. That's where they get their education from. And so that's why it's so dangerous in the community, in our neighborhoods. You know, it's very dangerous. In fact, in some parts of South Memphis, you hear a steady
barrage
of gunfire. A steady barrage of gunfire, you see. And it happens every 10 minutes, 15 minutes, every 30 minutes, you hear pow, pow, pow. Okay, and it's really unbelievable.
Okay. Jeffrey, it says here's how. Determine your eligibility, Applicants must be U.S. citizens, Tennessee residents, and at least 21 years of age. In addition, applicants must not have felonious records, a history of substance abuse, or be disabled due to mental incapacity. Detailed eligibility requirements can be found here, and it goes on to 2, 3, and 4. But Jeffrey, you were saying something earlier this week as we were prepping for the show about the law in Tennessee that does not require, what were you saying, that you can carry a gun concealed in your car? Tell us about what information you have there.
Well, I'm definitely myself, I wouldn't regard myself as any kind of expert on guns or gun laws, but it was brought to my attention not too long ago that on July 15th, and I think I got this confirmed earlier today as well, but on July 15th, if you could make a little edit as far as what you read, on July 15th, the law in Tennessee has made it permissible for people without a carrier's permit to keep a loaded firearm, once again, to keep a loaded firearm in their vehicle. So that's a little change that they made to the laws in 2015, in July 2015, July 15th specifically. That's what I found on that particular law.
Okay. Lonnie, you wanted to say something.
I just wanted to add, first I want to read this
Tennessee State Constitution, Article 1, Section 26.
Okay.
It says the citizens of this state have a right to keep and to bear arms for their common defense, but the legislature shall have power by law to regulate the wearing of arms with a view to prevent crime. Okay.
What's your take on it?
I have a few takes on it. Like the brother said, you know, they just passed the law.
Now, who's they? Who's that?
The Tennessee State
Legislature. Okay, all right.
Passed the law where, yes, it is lawful now to carry a handgun, a loaded or unloaded handgun in your vehicle. In certain places that you go without a hand permit, you know, you're not allowed to carry a rifle or a handgun on you without your permit. Mm-hmm. I'm in the process now of trying to obtain my handgun, and you know, like you said, it's the most extensive background check that they do on you. And right now, it's been denied by the TBI for some charges back 2008, but I have no felonies, I have no assault charges, anything like that. But for some reason, you know, they're preventing me from obtaining one. But my thing is this.
And TBI is in charge of this process?
They're in charge of the fingerprinting process.
Okay.
So that's the final step. Once you take your class, your handgun class, and then you have to fill out an application with the Department of Transportation, and then you have to send off for your fingerprints. And TBI will approve, you know, they'll do extensive background check on it or whatever. Okay. But my thing is, you know, as a black man whether you're a lawful citizen carrying that is permitted to carry your handgun, you know, you're perceived as a threat, right? We all know this. For example, if y'all recall back in 2009, where Omar Edward, he was a off-duty officer that was killed by the police. He was actually off duty, and he seen a citizen bringing it into a car, so he was chasing down the citizen. He had his gun out, and at the same time we had on duty officers circling that area, and they got out and shot the officer. You know, as soon as they told him to turn around, he turned around and he was killed. Okay. So, but that's just an example of, you know, we have several examples of police officers on and off duty, but just like the incident was, do you remember what the four probation officers, they were, I believe that was in New York, where they was serving out warrants, and they received a call from the officers, and they got the guns drawn on them, and they were state licensed PO officers that was going out to issue a warrant. But the thing is that, you know, yeah, we need to learn about self-defense, and we have a constitutional right to have the right to bear arms, but that doesn't prevent, you know, us from continuing to be targets. Like this brother right here, he was pulled over for tags, and he's getting murdered. That was murder, and we have to call it for what it is. He was murdered by the police officer. He had no weapon. Right. So, I mean,
we see this time and time again. But I want to go to Omar. But let's make some adjustments here. I can't see Omar on the camera.
He's there.
He's in there. Oh, yeah. Okay, hold your position right there, Lonnie, so that throughout the show, Omar is visible. Okay? Don't.
No, it's okay.
It's good? Okay. Right. Omar, is this something that African Americans have to be or should be careful with? And I think you were telling me something about the nation. You were telling me the Nation of Islam's position. Can you tie those two questions together?
Yes, sir. You know, in the Nation of Islam, we're not allowed to own guns or carry guns unless we're a police officer on duty. We're not allowed to have those guns in our home. But we are allowed to be trained on how to use guns. have training on how to use them, but I'm not allowed to have one. And our belief is that if somebody comes at you with a gun, then you will be blessed to take that gun from that person and you will use it on that person who is coming to take your life. I had some doubt in the beginning, but when I saw the police raid a mosque under the pretense of drug dealing out of the mosque, and the FOI beat the police and took their guns and put them in a pile and made the police lay on the floor. Then I became a believer. So from that day to this day, I have never even thought about somebody coming at me with a gun. I just believe that if you come with a gun, bring a good one, because I'm going to show in the hell use it.
Okay, okay. Jeffrey, I want to go to you. Doc, are you still on the line?
I'm still here.
Okay. It says here, obtain 8 hours of handgun safety training through a state-approved program. Ranges throughout the county offer these courses, which consist of 4 hours of classroom instruction and 4 hours of firing range instruction. It says call 615-251-8590 to find locations and phone numbers of schools. Now, go ahead, Jeffrey.
Not only that, but you know, I guess it's just a sign of the times. If you're paying attention to the airwaves, I know in my hometown in Jackson, Tennessee, I'm not sure where he got this particular bit of information that Brother Wallace is reading from, but I know in my hometown, I just happened to turn on our local radio station here this weekend, and there's evidently and definitely, like Brother Talut was saying, maybe for economic purposes or otherwise, but there's definitely a reason. Because you see these ads in your newspapers, you not only see them in your newspapers, but I'm turning on my radio and I'm hearing ads of our local security, mass guard security, promoting one-day classes, not only this yesterday, but also next week for the people in my area. So there's definitely I do believe that it's important for us to protect and defend ourselves. And so if that's something that's calling you, now is the time, because it's there and willing and available for you to take advantage of it. Me personally, honestly, I'm not too much of a fan of guns. I believe, and this is my opinion, that the whole very invention of this weapon is what caused our destruction. When I say our, I mean people who were not a part of that invention, or those people who lost their life as a result of this invention. I think it would be very, very beneficial if we did the history on the gun, on the invention of the gun, and who it was used for, and the purposes of it. So I mean, I think it's obvious. We see that the purpose of the gun is to kill people. So why are we caught up in a culture that seems to promote firepower? So I mean, I think it's very trivial. But on the other side of the token, when we're dealing with people who have guns and promote the use of these guns for their quote unquote protection or their defense, but if I have to make a point. This weapon that we refer to as a gun, it's a projectile. It's a projectile weapon. You have to use it, most of the time it's used at a distance. And so, to me, our enemies are using this as a tool of offense. And so if they're using this as a tool of offense, it's a very cowardly tool of offense, in my opinion. And I think that we have to go so deep into thinking about this problem that one day we need to really contemplate maybe inventing something that will make this particular weapon obsolete.
Okay. You also on one occasion told me that you have training in Taekwondo. And at one time you held the champion belt, world champion belt? Was that? Am I
Oh, yeah,
taking it?
that was years ago.
Was it years ago?
It was years ago.